My name is Patrick Henry Jones II. I work for an organization in Indianapolis, Indiana called the Mind Trust, and we essentially are advocates for charter schools, for school reform, to ensure that every student in our community has a great school to go to. And the impact of beloved community, and the reason why I'm here is because they've had such a great impact on me and our work in Indianapolis that I couldn't wait to learn more from Rhonda and her team as we continue along this journey. I'm the Senior Vice President of Leadership and Equity for the Mind Trust. Essentially what that means is I oversee the leadership development of our entire team, making sure that every person in our organization understands that they are a leader, understands where their leadership and how their leadership shows up. Also, I am responsible for all the equity work inside of our organization and outside of it, and leadership work outside of the organization as well. What that essentially means is enrolling schools, nonprofits who work with us, and the possibility that equity can improve their organization. That equity not only can improve, but is necessary for their organizational health and to see each other as full humans in this work. And so we have worked with Beloved previously to run equity cohorts. We've had, it's been a lot. We've had probably about 16 organizations go through equity cohorts in Indianapolis that were run by Beloved, but they've also done significant work with our fellows. So anytime we've launched a school, fellows go through equity programming, and Beloved has run that programming. In fact, that's where I first met Rhonda and her team, doing the great work with us there. And so through the equity work, not only do we do externally facing equity work, but we also interrogate the equity work that we are doing inside, right? And what that means is we have to look at the structures. And I think a lot of people look at how people are treated and how people feel. That's very important. But if we're not looking at the structures and how the systems are set up to propagate those feelings, then we aren't doing the work that is necessary for sustainable and long-lasting change. And so when we look at those systems, like how many volunteer hours are our team spending with organizations of color in our sector? What do we believe a good school is, and how is that informed also by community and children who go to those schools? And if we aren't doing that type of work internally, asking questions and turning outward to make sure we're making the best decisions inward, then we aren't being true to who we say we are as an organization. And Beloved helped us not only see that, but quantify that, and in a way that helped us make significant change. I mean, it was a phenomenal process. It's a lot of the data that came up from those processes early on was how we started to understand this idea of power and shared decision making and shared information, which is something that was, I mean, if I speak freely, very difficult for our organization to wrestle with. Because a lot of times we're meeting with people in regards to policy and like things that people don't normally just speak freely about, run through the streets and say this is happening about, right? So it's I don't want to say it's impossible to share some of those things because some of the information is extremely sensitive, but we had to come to an understanding that we can share, we will share. It's about when, where, and who we shared with. Some things that didn't make sense to share, some things that did. And were we really interrogating ourselves, making sure that we were sharing information that affected our communities, and we were sharing power in ways that could be effective for our communities. So one of the things that we created as a result of doing work with Beloved was something called the Achievement Project. And it's where we partner with the school and we invite the school, the community surrounding the school, and parents who send their kids to school there. And we have 4 meetings with those communities, those school communities. And the first meeting is about how the parent and the community member experienced school and achievement as a child. So what did you think of testing, and what did you think of being good at math or being good at reading? Like, what was your experience? Some of it good, some of it bad. And then the second meeting we shift to what the state expected of students in school. A lot of parents and community members have no idea. What do the state standards say? How are they connected to the testing? What do the testing items actually look like? what do they look like in comparison to what they looked like when I was in school 30, 40 years ago?
Right.
These are things that parents don't necessarily have time to think about. It isn't on their radar because they're busy trying to make a living for them and their families. So if we bring that to the forefront, we want to educate them and have them make informed decisions about what to expect from their teachers, what to expect from their principal in school. If this isn't happening, can I look at it like with a more critical eye now? But then the next two meetings is what's really important, and this is where this shared power idea really comes out. So then we have the parents particularly build something in the school that will increase student achievement. And we specifically focus on student achievement because other groups are focusing on other things. We want to start small, start specific, and have this thing grow. So have the parents come up with something. So they start the bones in that third meeting. In the fourth meeting, they have to build out the meat. So they're putting milestones to it, they're putting goals or whatever. And at the end, once they have everything set, my office takes a look at what they have. If it looks like it can actually be done, if the milestones are set so that we can give the money to the school, so I didn't tell you about the money, but if the milestones are set, we fund the parents' idea for the school to implement for $10,000. And we've seen ideas come up like training parents as reading tutors for after school. And the parents get paid for doing that, but they get trained on how to deliver high quality reading instruction. We've seen schools build booklets of booklets and information on math and English materials. And then the parents come in once a month and they meet with teachers about, hey, how do I do this work over this next month with my child in this booklet that you created? And once they do that, the parents work with the kids at home, and then they come back the next month and say, hey, let's see how your kid did, let's see how you did with teaching them, and let's go over next month's work. And in some of that work, we work with the local KIPP school. 25% of the school population participated in this endeavor. Of the students who passed the state test, 44% of them were from that program. So we went from 25% representation to almost 50% of the kids who passed the test participated in this program that was developed by parents. It was their idea from the first place, right? So I mean, correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation, but I think there's something to the parents being invested in this process and the parents having a say-so in what happened there that really sparks their engagement, number one, and two, in a way that gets them closer to the work, which I believe is what parents always want.